Hey besties, Monica Ferguson here and welcome to World Domination. This is a safe space for absolute legends who are bold enough and brave enough to go within, to recreate their belief system, to aim high, to chase their wildest dreams and become everything that they are destined to be. This is a space for people who are serious about growth, about healing. We talk about all things mind, body, spirit, and we have the courage to go further than most people even dare to dream. Welcome, let's get into it. Hello, besties. Monica Ferguson here. Welcome to this week's episode where we're talking about money, honey. And I'm already intrigued to see what kind of feedback I'm going to get on this one, because this is an interesting topic right now. We don't talk about it very much in society, but when we do, it's really negative, right? What you hear people speak about is there's not enough, and inflation and fear and negative. Now, okay, yes, we live in the world. However, our beliefs are still forming our experience, right? There are more millionaires on this planet right now than ever before. So there are people right now that are thriving. So really it's up to us to choose where do we want to go. Because remember, our beliefs, our thoughts create our life, not our external circumstances, right? Our external circumstances are simply a mirror for what we dominantly believe. And if that's hard to get your head around, this episode is probably not for you, because yeah, it's probably not for you. It's probably going to be super triggering. But I absolutely love working on money mindset with my clients. I love speaking about money. I love shifting this narrative that we have around wealth, because, you know, it is so important that the beautiful people have a lot of money. It is so important that the heart-led, purpose-driven people who are actually doing really amazing things in the world have a lot of resources, right? Because as earlier stated, we live in this world where money is required. And if we are, you know, people who desire to make a big impact, we need resources to do that. And if we've got these beliefs that say, oh no, like, you know, only greedy people have money and money is the root of all evil, and, you know, all this fear around money, then we're not going to be able to make that big of an impact, are we? And ultimately, we want to be serving from the overflow. So the more resources that we have to pour into ourselves, to look after ourselves, means that we're an even better version of ourselves out in the world where we can impact more people. The version of us who is wealthy and healthy and, you know, thriving in their relationships and has no concerns around, you know, how to pay their bills and stuff like that, that version of us is infinitely more creative, more powerful, more able to serve, right? Because we're not using our vital energy to try to survive. And like, let me put my hand up and say, I have been on the poverty line. So when I talk about this, guys, I am literally, I am proof of how things can turn around for us. You can literally be running your dream business and impacting people all around the world and getting paid really, really well to literally live your dreams. And I have been on, like, yeah, the absolute poverty line. I mean, I grew up in a house with no running water, no power, mad abuse, right? So it was like survival. That was the only thing that mattered. This thought of, you know, what would I like to do with my life, or, you know, who do I want to be, or whatever, dreams. That was not a thing. It was like, just survive. And so as I grew up, I took that mindset, right, of I'm not safe, I need to survive, there's not enough money, right? Because we literally had no power. We had to go to the local camping ground to have showers. So I grew up in this real poverty mindset, and I carried that with me until I learned this stuff. And so because I had these beliefs of there's not enough, and I had so much fear around money, I then created more and more evidence of that, right? Which then makes that belief much easier to hold on to. And so the cycle continues until I started to embody everything that I teach you guys. When I started to understand that my external world was simply a reflection of my internal subconscious beliefs, right? So just a little recap for those of you that are new here. The conscious mind is 5% of our mind, right? And what we think of the conscious mind as the goal setter. So the conscious mind decides this is where we're going to go. The subconscious mind is 95% of your mind. It's the goal getter, right? Now here's the kicker. The subconscious mind is responsible for your safety, for keeping you alive. It does not care about your happiness. It actually much prefers for you to stay in the familiar, in your comfort zone, because from a survival point of view, it knows how to it knows how to keep you safe, right? So even if, the familiar is actually not good, like in my case, it was poverty, it was abuse. I didn't enjoy that, but my subconscious mind didn't care what I wanted. It cared about keeping me safe. So as long as I was, recreating those cycles over and over again, subconsciously, my mind was happy because I felt safe. Consciously, I was not a happy girl. All right, I was a very, very unhappy girl. So I want to take you back to the moment that absolutely shattered my whole belief system around money, and in a brutal way. Okay, so I was hosting an event in Wellington, in New Zealand, for my mentor, and so we had a room full of people in this hotel, and he was speaking about all these things that I talk about, and we were speaking about money, right, and our belief systems around money. And he asked someone, how much money do you want? Like, what is your financial goal? Now, keep in mind, disclaimer, I'm going to give you guys a little insight. My coach, my mentor, he is not someone that you aim low with, right? This is someone who is a high achieving, multi-millionaire, 45 world champs under his belt. Like, he is next level. And which is funny because that's what the event was called, Next Level. But this is the thing, if you bring little goals to him, he will be disgusted, right? So now I learned this the hard way, right? So disclaimer. So we're in this room. There's this lady who's speaking. We've just met, right? She's just met him for the first time. And he says in front of this group of people, how much money do you want? And she said, oh, well, I only need $100,000 a year to live comfortably. Now, this was a little while ago, right? So before a lot of our stuff had taken off in the world. And so she says, yeah, I only need $100,000 to live comfortably. And so he says to her in front of everyone, oh, so you're selfish. And she was like, what? And we were all like, what? And he said, hang on, if you only need $100,000, you've only asked for enough for yourself, right? So make $1 million and give 900 away, right? And initially, I can hear the resistance coming through already, where people are going to say, oh, it's easy for you to say, my employer. Okay, we're not talking about employers. We're talking about creating your own wealth here, okay? And I'm not talking about some crypto thing. I'm talking about a sustainable, scalable business that you own. You are the brand. It's your business, right? This is how we do it. So if we're looking to an employer, if you're getting paid $50K a year, and your employer isn't going to cough up another $950,000 for you. Probably not going to happen. However, if you start looking at the things that you would love to do, if you took out the fear of how is it going to happen? Oh my God, I'm not good enough and I'm unworthy and what will people think and it's too scary and I need safety and security and all that. If you took all those fears out, you have limitless options. You have limitless potential. You can literally do whatever you want. The only reason that you haven't is because there's some part of you that's afraid or that's holding back, right? But if you were to decide, I'm going to make $1 million and give away a lot of money because I really care about people. That's what I feel called to do. Guess what? You would. And when we tap into our purpose like that, of course it's not always easy and there are challenges for all of us, but the benefits, if you're building a business and, really pursuing a goal, a passion, something that's purposeful, that means so much to you, that, it gets you out of bed. It adds a depth to your life that just is not there when you're in the wrong position for you, right? That you're there because you want a paycheck. when you're actually doing something that has a bigger purpose and a bigger why, it changes your whole life. It adds so much happiness to your life, right? Like, I can't even put into words the joy that it brings me. Like, it makes me cry when I think about it. My clients and the breakthroughs that I get to, experience with them and guide them through, and the changes, how much it impacts their family and their communities, and how they then go out and make a difference, and they get paid and they get more money and more love and more health. Like, it is just incredible, right? But it starts with courage. So let's go back to this moment of her being startled, and he said, "You're selfish." And it was this breakthrough moment of like, oh yeah, we actually need to aim bigger, need to aim higher. And what he explained was kind of what I said at the start of this episode, which is that the more that we have, the more that we have to give away, right? The more that we have, the more we can pour into ourselves, the more that we can build our idea, our dream, our business. We can expand it, we can scale it, we can build a team, right? Whatever it is, it's not actually up to us to figure out the how, right? And at the end of this episode, what I would love for every single person who's listening to do is set a goal. And you don't need to know how. You don't need to have it all mapped out that I'm going to start a business and it's going to be like this, this, and this. But if you can connect some sort of purpose-driven thing that you would like to do, and it might be you want to empower parents of kids under 10. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, you want to save, rescue dogs, whatever, I don't care what it is, but whatever comes from your heart, right? Something that really matters to you. You want to act in all the movies or like tell stories that bring awareness to the whales. Like, honestly, it does not matter. Every single person is different, and that's the beauty of this life. It's like we're all a jigsaw piece, and so that I might have skills or insights that trigger something in you, and then you add something different to society. And when we all step into our power and our purpose and our calling, guess what? We literally change the world. Like, this is no joke, right? And we all activate people around us. So at the end of this episode, what I'd love for you guys to do is have a goal in mind, a financial goal. And don't worry about how it's going to happen. And it should be uncomfortable for you. Like, don't aim low, right? We don't do this. You're listening to a podcast called World Domination. So we want to actually lift our vision a little more. And it should be so uncomfortable. And just for context, my mentor, the one that I told you about who almost made that lady cry that day, but then changed her life actually, and everyone's lives in that room. So when I've gone through like my, comprehensive goal setting with him, it's been really interesting because he'll push me to sweat, like, and I aspire to do the same for you right now. I want to see you sweat. But, I remember saying to him, like, I'd set these goals and I was just like, and I was like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. And I was making like vision boards and, things like to keep the vision alive in my head all the time. So I was building all these things to help me stay focused. And he said, nah, keep going. Like, this is just the old you fighting to hold on. And that's the thing. If we go back to the start where I talked about the subconscious mind likes the comfort and the familiarity and the safety, right? So as you decide all of a sudden to become $1 million version of you, and you're used to being a $50,000 version of you, there's quite a jump, right? And it's a lot for your mind to expand into. So of course, there's going to be some discomfort. That doesn't mean you don't do it. It's the exact opposite. That is confirmation for you that you have just done something incredible. You've expanded yourself. You are no longer the $50,000 version of you, because if you were, you'd feel comfortable. So you're now in a much higher, you're playing a higher level, right? And you just deciding $1 million by, put a date on it. And, just for context again, my mentor, when he helps people set goals, he says, I want you to double the goal and halve the time. So we're not about being realistic here, right? We're not about, because we're playing in a quantum field. We're souls sitting on a rock. Like, this is not what we think it is. We don't have to figure it out. We literally have to be bold enough and brave enough to tune into that voice in our heart, that thing that excites us, that lights us up. Be brave enough to hold that vision, right? Like, I could do that and I could get paid this much. And I want to do that by the end of next year. I want to be here, here, and here. And then simply allow things to start coming in. This is the law of attraction, right? As you clearly hold this vision in your mind, you will start attracting the information, the resources, the people, the next steps. And also what will happen is the things that are not in alignment will clear out and will become very obvious for you that that's not part of your journey. And it might be things that are not very pleasant. Okay, disclaimer. It might be like you have to leave your job or your job just becomes so uncomfortable because you know that it's not in alignment with who you are, that you just you snap and you leave, or you leave a relationship, or you suddenly create space for new friends, or whatever it is. The key here to remember, and this is a mantra that I carry, is that everything is always working out for you. Everything is always happening for you. Okay, so that's our goal by the end of this episode, right? I want you to have a vision. And again, do not try to figure out how. It should be so big that you have no idea how to make it happen, okay? Because I just don't believe in coincidences. And I attract really purpose-driven, epic, heart-led people into my space. So I want you to have a lot. I want you to have a lot of resource so that you can be a gift to the world, because that is what you were put here to do, okay? So that being said, let's look at some of the reasons why people wouldn't set big goals, BHAGs. You may have heard that, big, hairy, audacious goals. I don't know why we call them hairy. We need a nicer sounding H. But anyway, so what you may have noticed already is resistance, right? I said set a goal, set a financial goal. This is where all of your limiting beliefs and your fears and your stories are going to come up, which is why I love having these conversations with my clients face to face, right? Because we can really navigate this stuff. But I kind of did this way around just to show you guys, right? If I say set an amazing goal, ask for more, what came up within you? Were you like, oh, because remember, it's all subconscious. 95% of your belief system is subconscious, which means it is outside of your conscious awareness. You don't really even know what's going on. And if you're new to this kind of work, you probably have no idea that you have a belief system that's actually keeping you where you are right now. But it is, because you literally can't experience something that you are not a match to. If you had $1 million mindset, you'd be a millionaire, or you'd be becoming one. Like, things would be moving, it would be evident in your life, right? But if you settle, if you just accept what's in front of you and then complain about it all the time and feel like terror and fear every time a bill comes in, and you judge people who have wealth, like, that's going to show you actually what else is going on, right? And where your beliefs are. Now, what we want to do is unpack that, because in our society, people are super negative. I don't know if you've realized this, but so many people are just ridiculously negative, which is part of the reason I started this podcast, because I wanted to counteract some of that. Like, where are the people telling you to aim higher and dream bigger? Well, we're here, right? But there aren't a lot of voices saying this. There's a lot of people saying, you need to be realistic, you need to manage this, you need to, this and that, and fear, and the economy and the recession. It's like, are you serious, man? I've had bigger breakthroughs in the last few years than ever before in my entire life. So again, I'm evidence that that's not the case. Like, I'm doing so much better now than I ever have. So, But anyway, what we want to do is start to unpack some of those beliefs, around your belief system around money. When you think about money, what comes up for you immediately? Is it fear? Is it shame? What is it? Is it like a parent in your head and a story that they used to tell you about how, people with money are greedy? And because all these things matter. Now, remember, the subconscious mind is there to keep you safe, right? So let's say, for example, you had a parent who absolutely despised wealthy people. So unconsciously, you don't want to be wealthy because you know that you're going to be despised by a parent, right? And if you become wealthy, this is how it works. And this would be outside of your conscious awareness. But if there's going to be a negative consequence to something, if you perceive that something bad is going to happen, if you were to become wealthy, you will literally stop yourself from becoming wealthy in an attempt to stay feeling safe. This is how it works. This is why the subconscious work is so powerful. Because when we go in and we actually become aware of these stories and beliefs, they no longer control us. They no longer have power over us. So what if you became aware of all of your stories? Do you believe that you are worthy of money? Do you believe that who you are inherently is worthy of $1 million? Do you believe that your skills and your talents are worthy of that? This is important stuff. Because, of course, you can only receive what you believe you're worthy of. And if you don't believe you're worthy of it, you won't even allow yourself to go there in your mind. And that's the key, right? Being able to go there in your mind, because the subconscious mind does not know the difference between real or imagined, which is why things like visualization are so powerful. The imagination is so powerful. The more time we spend there, imagining things that we desire, the mind starts to naturally move in that direction because you're starting to show up as that version of you without even realizing, So, okay, let's go back to this. Money beliefs. This is really important, you guys, because like I said at the beginning, we need you to be rich. We need you to be wealthy. We need you to have an abundance of resources that are overflowing so that you live the most abundant life ever, so that your family does, your community, and then all the people who you are going to impact because you had the courage to step into your purpose and actually be an example of what that looks like. And all the people that are going to be served by that, right? You'll inspire people to do it themselves, but you'll also impact people or animals or the planet or whatever your particular calling is. This is how you make a difference. This is you are a gift. You are a gift to humanity. There's no accident that you're here, and there's no accident that you're listening to this. So what are you gonna do? What is your vision? What is your purpose? And I just want to finish up by speaking about this process a little bit, okay? So let's just say you've gone through some of your beliefs and you've realized, oh my God, I have this pattern of just never having enough. And so you've realized, oh, I have this belief that there's never enough. So you've worked through some of that, right? Now, I recommend tapping, EFT, emotional freedom technique. You guys can get this for free on YouTube. Literally type in tapping for, money magnet. Tapping for fear of not enough money. And literally there'll be videos that come up. And I've talked about this before. My favorite guy on there, his name is Brad Yates. And the way that tapping works is it works kind of like acupuncture, but without the needles, right? So you're tapping on the meridian points of the body, which actually clears stuck energy. So it calms our nervous system, which means that as you're holding this new vision, right, of yourself as this new $1 million version or whatever, $100,000, whatever your particular goal is, right? As you're holding that new vision and your nervous system starts to panic or fear comes up, you immediately have a tool to calm your nervous system
so that you can continue moving towards that goal without being constantly in fear. Because there is a huge amount of trust and faith required. There's a lot of time that we're going to spend in between who we were and who we're becoming. And the more that we can master this and get comfortable with being in the unknown, the quicker we achieve our goals. Okay, so let's say you've set a goal. Okay, I'll shrink myself a little bit here. Let's say $250,000. Okay, let's just say you're like, I want $250,000 by the end of next year, or by June of next year. I don't care, whenever it is, right? So you decide there, I want to start my business, I want this, da-da-da-da. And so the first thing that comes up is, oh my God, how am I going to pay my bills? Like, what are people going to think? All these things come up. You're literally going to go in to YouTube and type in tapping for anxiety, tapping for fear, tapping for whatever, money. Now, what you can also do is type in Brad Yates, and he's got like thousands of videos, and you can scroll through the playlists, right? And you'll find things that fit exactly how you feel. And you're going to do this. Now, the other thing that you can use is I have a, depending on what particular fears are coming up for you, if it's a self-worth thing or a confidence thing, or not feeling enough, I have a hypnosis that you guys can buy online. It's up now, and it's called I Am Worthy Beyond Measure. And this speaks into 4 different things. It focuses on being, feeling worthy, feeling good enough, receiving love, and receiving abundance. So because we're putting this in at the subconscious level, which is 95% of your mind, it's powerful, right? You can start putting in positive suggestions. That would help as well. If you've got your new goal and you're going to put in that, amazing, as well, consistently, right? And of course, you can work with me one-on-one, and we can crack this stuff open so quickly and just start shifting you really, really fast. So send me a message if that sounds like you. But the final thing that I just want to add on, you guys, is be bold, be brave, set the vision, because you're meant to be rich. Like, it makes no sense. I know that there's a lot of religious teachings and stuff that people might push back on around this. They might say, oh, in the Bible it says, money, it says the love of money is the root of all evil, right? But the thing is that we're not really talking about, we're not obsessed with money. We're not saying that money is our world. What we're saying is we're actually talking about our purpose, right? We've talked about being in our purpose, being of service to the world. And it does not make sense for us to not have anything to bring to the world. Like, the more resources we have, the more money we have, the more impact we can make. You with a team of staff behind you is much more powerful than you on your own trying to do everything, right? And you get to then, employ people and just create a much bigger impact and much more freedom for yourself as well, where you're not having to slog 8, 9, 10 hours a day. You can show up for a few hours a day, but it's purposeful, it's intentional. You've actually worked through this process where you've created this business that works for you. So you're able to absolutely pour into yourself. So you're the greatest version of yourself, the happiest, the healthiest. And so when you show up, it's intentional, it's impactful. And then you have, this team that works for you, or however that looks for you. Every single person's journey is different, right? Which is why I don't want to make a plan for you, because everyone's goals are different, everyone's vision is different, therefore the path to get it is different. But this is just one example of what's possible. You are meant to be rich because you're here to make a difference. And you yourself are so worthy of pouring into yourself. Like, you were created, chosen. It makes no sense. We were not put here to struggle. We were put here to thrive. And there are absolutely things that you can do to transform your financial situation. And it might start with just get out of negative spaces. Stop listening to negative people who complain, listening to lack, listening to, No, every single time that you hear something like that, it's going into your subconscious mind. It's reprogramming that belief system, right? Which then makes it easier and easier and easier for you to spot the negative. And the last thing that I'll say, let me just geek out for a second. I've talked about before in heaps of other episodes, this process that the mind has where it's like a filter, okay? And the process is called generalize, distort, and delete. And it's the way that our mind takes in information around, like out of our world, because there's so much happening all the time that it physically can't process it all. So it takes, a few pieces. And the way that it decides is based on what you dominantly focus on, unconsciously. So if you dominantly believe that there's never enough, I'm struggling, I have no idea how I'm going to survive, everything sucks, it's terrible, oh my God, your mind is literally finding evidence of that for you. So it matters. If you listen to, to people that are constantly complaining and are negative, you're feeding this belief, which means that your mind is going to filter for that. But when you get around people like this, you start having conversations like this, you're listening to people that are really successful, you're getting fired up and inspired by people who have done incredible things, and you're opening up those possibilities. Guess what? Your mind will start to filter for more of that. This is why I said, you guys, set a goal, because your mind will literally filter your reality to make you right, to find you evidence of what you believe. So if you start believing that you're the $1 million version of you, the business owner version of you, the $250,000 version of you, your mind will start filtering to bring you things that would lead you to that version of yourself. And do you know how much better life feels? Even before you get the goal, the journey to get it feels so much better because you're empowered, you're inspired, you're growing. It just is such an amazing space to be in. And it's like, it feels exciting to be alive. Like, it truly does. Instead of just struggling and waiting for something to change. Nothing's going to change until you change it. No one's coming to save you. Like, you are the one that gets to do this, and you absolutely can. And like I said, if you want some support, I do single sessions, which are like focus sessions. So if you wanted to look specifically at your money mindset or any other issue, you can come to me. Or I do 1 month at a time coaching sessions with my clients who are like heart-led fempreneurs mainly. I mainly work with women. So if you have this idea, right, and you're like, I'm going to start, I'm ready, I will guide you through the whole goal setting process, through the fear, through the triggers, through the subconscious work, so that you literally live your dream. That's the whole point. Out of your head into your life, where it can make an impact on everyone around you. That is all I have to say. My friends, I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. Please let me know your aha moments, and I will see you next week. And that is a wrap. Thank you for showing up for yourself, for being here, and please let me know your aha moments. I want to hear all about them. For extra support, make sure you're following me on TikTok and Instagram at @TheMonicaFerguson. Check out the School of Greatness for self-study courses. And of course, if you want one-on-one mentoring, just DM me and I would love to have a chat with you. Go and slay the day. Thank you for being you. See you soon.